This happened about 2 hours ago. It was one of those moments that makes your heart squeeze tight in your chest. I live on the second floor of an apartment complex. From my balcony, I can see across the parking lot to another building. Let's call it Building B. Beyond that, there's a small corner store we visit often. Today, my younger brother came over to hang out. "Hey, it's been a while. Let's have a drink tonight," he said. He offered to run down to the corner store to pick up some snacks and drinks. Honestly, I didn't feel like going, so I stayed back, tidying up the apartment. After finishing up, I stepped out onto the balcony for a smoke. The night air was cold, biting at my skin. I leaned on the railing, slowly exhaling, and waited, watching for my brother to come back. But even after finishing my cigarette, he was nowhere in sight. I was about to head back inside when I caught movement. There he was, just coming out of the store across the street. Without thinking, I smiled and waved. Raising my voice just a bit, I called out, "Hey, can you see me?" He stood at the crosswalk, bags in hand, but didn't seem to notice me at all. I lifted both arms, about to wave harder and call out again. But then, something shifted in the corner of my eye. Directly across from me, on the second floor of Building B, perfectly aligned with my line of sight, there was a figure in the window. A woman, dark. So dark, her face was just a silhouette. No features, no details, just blackness, staring right at me. That window had always unsettled me. Since I moved in years ago, I'd noticed that apartment seemed empty. No furniture visible through the balcony. No laundry ever hanging out. No lights, except sometimes, late at night, briefly. I had assumed someone odd just lived there. Someone with strange hours. But this was the first time I saw anyone. And she was standing there, facing me. I froze. Cold sweat trickled down my back. I couldn't tear my eyes away. I wanted to cry. I wanted to look anywhere else. Then, suddenly, "Hey!" I flinched, whipping my head down. There was my brother, grinning up at me from the sidewalk. "Look, I got a ton of stuff." I forced myself to smile, to sound normal, shouting back, "You're buying this round, right?" But in my mind, one horrible thought pulsed over and over. Did she think I was waving at her? Did she come to the window because she thought I was calling her? I backed into the apartment, quickly, desperately trying not to look across again. Just to make sure, I called down to my brother again. "Come on up, man, hurry!" Once I was back inside, the fear began to slip, replaced by a strange irritation. Why had she been staring like that? What kind of creep stands at their window, glaring into someone else's home? Determined, I marched to the window, yanked the curtain aside, and saw her apartment. The lights were flickering, rapidly, click, click, click. I gasped, my heart pounding. I yanked the curtain closed again. Moments later, my brother came through the door. I nearly collapsed into him, tearfully recounting everything. Later, when I dared to peek again, the apartment was dark, completely dark. I still don't know who or what was staring back at me.
I went over to my brother's place tonight. It had been a while. When he opened the door, I smiled and said, "Hey, it's been a while. Let's have a drink tonight." He nodded quietly, stepping aside to let me in. We chatted briefly, but quickly realized we had nothing to drink. "I'll run down to the store," I said, standing up. Outside, the air was chilly but pleasant. I walked to the corner store, grabbed some drinks and snacks, and stood in line to pay. Then, suddenly, I felt someone standing right beside me, almost too close. It felt like a woman was there, just inches away. But when I glanced over, no one was there. The cashier gave me a puzzled look. "Sir, are you all right? Who were you talking to?" I laughed awkwardly, paid quickly, and left the store. Walking back, I glanced up at the apartment. My brother was standing on his second-floor balcony, waving his arms.
"Hey, can you see me?"
he shouted. For just a moment, I thought I saw a faint silhouette standing behind him. I blinked, shaking it off, and lifted the bags high. Look, I got a ton of stuff. But suddenly he stopped. His arms fell slowly to his sides, and his smile disappeared. He stood frozen, staring past me into the darkness, completely silent. I kept walking, watching him closely, feeling uneasy. He didn't move or speak again until I was almost at the building. Then, as if nothing strange had happened, he called out again, smiling as before.
You're buying this round, right?
I paused. Wait, what? That was strange. Why had he stood frozen for so long, only to suddenly continue as if nothing had happened? I shook off the uneasy feeling, taking a deep breath. Inside the building, I headed down the hallway. Out of the corner of my eye, a woman walked by, making my heart jump slightly. I quickly brushed it off. Just another neighbor, I told myself. When I opened the door, my brother was pacing around the living room, muttering to himself.
She saw me. Oh my God.
I stood quietly watching him for 10, maybe 15 minutes. He didn't even seem to realize I was there. Then, suddenly, he looked up. His expression relaxed completely.
Oh, you're here. Why'd you take so long?
He spoke as though I had just walked through the door, but I'd been standing there the entire time.